So we're on day 17, and doing the face thing. I'm smoking my Ostis Bent Dublin. Excuse my facial hair. This is what it looks like when I wake up. Still loving the blend or mix. Still very satisfying. So I've been thinking about this for a while. And I'm sure some of you can relate in this thought. I have one of the smartest dogs in the world, but also one of the dumbest. I'll elaborate. So Luna is extremely easy to train, and she doesn't forget once she's trained. She's also stubborn and bullheaded. So a lot of the times she won't listen unless she's given a command word, and then she knows she has to listen. So she'll be sitting there or something, and I'll be like, all right, come on. And she'll look over at me and then just sigh and then look away. And I let her get away with it. And I'm like, all right, fine, you can have an extra few minutes or whatever. Like if we're outside and she's laying down or something, you know, like, all right, you can have an extra few minutes. You're not ready to go in, I guess. And then eventually I'm like, all right, come on, inside. And then she'll either do it or I'll have to give her a command. And then the moment she hears the command, it's an instant thing where she jumps up, she runs to go inside. And it's the same with, you know, heel, sit, stay, hold. Like, she's really good with all of her commands. That's not why I think she's one of the dumbest dogs in the world. The dumb thing is that if she's not in that training mindset or in that working mindset, she'll run into walls. I've watched her run into walls before. We've been walking before, and she'd be on grass, and we'd be walking, and she'd just kind of be sniffing and not really paying attention. And as we're walking, like I said, she's on the grass, and the grass is about to end with a concrete wall. And I think, oh, surely she's aware of it. She's going to step off the grass and walk on the sidewalk, to get around it. Um, nope, she ran into it. This was a while ago. This was when I first learned how inattentive she can be when it comes to certain things. And then this morning, and this has happened a few times. Like we'll have cats that jump into the backyard, and they go on the lawn in the back. And for whatever reason, being a dog, I guess, I don't know, Luna really wants that cat poop. Like, just really wants it. She's not allowed to have it. She knows she's not allowed to have it, so she doesn't. But she'll do this thing where she like looks over at me and then stares at me. And then as soon as I make eye contact, she looks back at the cat poop and she'll get real close to it and smell it and then just stand there and stare at it. And then I have to then go pick it up, which is fine. Well, this morning, she went out and she went to the bathroom. And then we went for a ride in the truck, and I grabbed breakfast because this morning I woke up from my stomach growling so aggressively that it woke me up. So we went to a place down the street, and I grabbed some food real quick, came back, ate it, and then I just let her back out. And then she ran out and she started staring at her own poop. And then she started inching closer and closer until she was like that far away. And she wasn't smelling it. She was just deadlocked on it, like she wanted it. But she's smart because she knows she's not allowed to have it. It's just such a weird thing. So I don't know if something is missing in her diet, or if she didn't fully digest something maybe, and she smelled it in passing and now wants it again. So enjoy the 8 minutes of talking about dog poop. I apologize. How about I switch to my buddy Ryan for a minute? Ryan Allen. I had mentioned him in a video the day before yesterday, I believe. I think I've mentioned him. I think I've mentioned him in other videos. I don't remember if I've told this story or not, but when I was going through chemo, I had non-Hodgkin's stage 4 lymphoma. I had the cancer was throughout my entire body, but I had a 6-inch by 3-inch tumor infused in my lower back muscle. And then it eventually crushed 6 inches of my sciatic nerve and then completely severed it. And that's why they said I would never walk again, because they couldn't figure out from all the scans and testing they did, the nerve was no longer connected. Um, and they told me that wouldn't heal. Like nerve damage, I guess, will heal about an inch a year or something like that. But a complete cut, severed, I, I guess doesn't or isn't supposed to. I'm walking. I forced myself to start walking again. Um, After like a year of not walking, somewhere around there. Um, so I was in a lot of pain, and my doctor uh, custom made my painkillers, and they were 24-hour time release pills, and I had to take 3 of them a day, and they were so strong that I guess I would take them, and 15 minutes later when they hit, I would be mid-sentence talking, and then I would just black out and just conk out for 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And then I would come back to and keep talking like nothing had happened, because in my head, nothing had happened. Um, so every time this would happen, um, my friends, any friends who were at my house would be like, "Oh, he fell asleep. We should let him rest." And then they would leave. And then I would come back to, and there would be no one left in the room. So I'd be like, what just happened? And the first couple of times it was really confusing, and I was like, okay, is like the pain or the pills messing with me? Like, am I losing my mind? What's going on? And Ryan was over one day. And like I mentioned, Ryan had been through um, leukemia, I think a couple of times by the time I had gotten lymphoma. And he knew exactly what was going on. So he was sitting there. And I took one of my pills, and then I was talking to him, and then I guess I just passed out. And then I woke up, and I was at this point I had basically been living in like a lazy boy reclining chair, because I couldn't lay down due to where the mass, the tumor was. Laying down was the most painful thing. So I had basically been living in a reclining lazy boy chair, and I looked to the left, and on on a TV tray, there was I think it was a sandwich that he made. There was a sandwich sitting there, and I was like, "What the heck?" And then I looked up, and he wasn't sitting on the couch, and I was like, "Okay." And then I hear this laughing, and I'm like, "What?" And I look over, and he's standing outside having a cigarette, and he's laughing. And I go, "What happened? Like, what? Why are you laughing?" And he goes, "Because I knew exactly what was going to happen the moment you took the painkiller and you passed out. Because it happened to me all the time when he was going through his." And he was like, "And people would always think that I was just out for the next few hours and they would leave and then I would come to and they would be gone. And I would be sitting there questioning whether or not I was losing my mind. So he knew exactly what was going to happen and decided to make himself a sandwich and make me a sandwich. And then he went out and had a smoke and had a laugh at me waking up to that. He was an amazing guy. His parents were Mormon. Um, and this was before I knew anything about religion, really. I didn't grow up religious. Um, and they wanted him to be a part of the Mormon church. So for him, or for them, for his parents, he went to their version of seminary. I don't know exactly what it is, but he became an ordained Mormon priest or reverend. I should probably know more about this, given the fact that I'm apparently directly related to Joseph Smith, but I don't. But I thought that was a very, very kind and considerate thing to do for his parents, even while going. I mean, when he did it, he was suffering. You know, he was going through his cancer stuff. But he still went through it. He still did it for his parents. And he didn't really follow or believe any of that stuff. It was literally just for his parents. Oh my god, him and his best friend Justin, one of my other friends, they were in this death metal band, and it was so obscure, like the genre of metal that it was, but like they had all these fans in like Japan and all kinds of other countries that would pay to fly them out there to play. And they had it was literally just Ryan and Justin. One played guitar, one played bass, and I forget which one of them did like the growling, grunting vocals, but their drummer was called Bob's Head in a Bag, and it was literally just a drum kit, like an electronic drum kit that they set up to play, and they would put it in a bag on stage. So yeah, and none of this is meant to be sad or anything like that. I don't view any of the chemo stuff as sad. And like I've said before, I think it's worse for the people around you than it is for you. I was just kind of in the moment. I was enjoying the painkillers and messing with my doctors and everyone else that I possibly could. I was down at a coffee shop when when I still couldn't walk, a buddy of mine was like, "Hey man, you've been in this house for like, I think I've been stuck in the house for like 8 or 9 months, something like that, just not able to move from that chair." Um, and he was like, "Let's let's get you out of the house. I'll load the wheelchair up into the truck or whatever, and we can go down and get some coffee or something." Because there was a local coffee shop, is a local coffee shop that we used to go to a lot growing up, um, and a lot when we would like ditch school and just do dumb kid stuff. But I went down there, and I was in the wheelchair, and I was I was looking at one of my buddies, and to mess with him, I was like, "Hey man, would you mind?" I was like, I forgot my my money," and I did. I forgot my wallet because I hadn't been out of the house in so long. I didn't even think about bringing it. And I was like, "Hey man, would you mind like would you mind getting me a Coke or buying me a Coke?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure." And then he went to hand me the, the dollar to go buy it from inside. And I looked him dead in the eyes, and I went, "Oh, would you mind getting it for me, dude? Like, I have cancer." And he was like, "Oh, yeah, yeah." And then he jumped up and he ran in and got it. And it was a weird way to mess with him, and other people. But I'm telling you this part because it leads into another interaction with Ryan, who had been through all this. And mind you, Ryan walked around with crutches even after his second time with leukemia. He he always had to have crutches or like a cane. Um, so he had a lot of chances to mess with people, and he did. Um, we both did, um, in excess and probably too much. Uh, but Ryan walked up later on that day while we were still there, and and I I got the the idea to pull the same thing on him. And I go, "Hey Ryan, I forgot my wallet. Would you mind buying me a Coke?" And he was like, "Yeah, that's cool." And he goes to hand me the dollar, and I go, "Oh, dude, uh, would you mind grabbing it for me? I have cancer." And he goes, "No, wheel your crippled butt in there and get it." And then throws the dollar at me, and then he goes back there, and then he walks inside, grabs a Coke. He doesn't even drink Coke, or didn't even drink Coke. He would always get coffee. So he hobbles himself in there, gets himself a Coke, comes out, sits right next to me, opens it, drinks it, and then goes, "Ah," and just stares at me. So then I had to wheel myself in there and grab one. But Ryan was an amazing guy. He always went out of his way for people. Always went out. I mean, like, if I had legitimately needed him to go get me a Coke, he would have done it. But he knew that I was messing with him and other people, so he decided to mess back. Um, yeah, I have a lot of fond memories with him. And again, none of this is like sad. This is all, I mean, like I said, he's gone now, but it's all happy memories for me, you know? Um, I mean, you definitely wish the people weren't gone, but depending on what you choose to believe, um, hopefully you'll see them again one day. And if not, you were blessed that they were in your life. I mean, that's the way I feel about it. I'm grateful for every minute I have with him. I'm grateful for everything he did. I probably wouldn't have made it through uh, if it wasn't for him. He was just a great guy. So yeah. Well, my pipe is basically cashed. I think I'll leave it there. I think it's cash, let's say. No, drags a little bit. You know what? I'm at 26 minutes. I didn't realize I had gone that long. I'm gonna end this here, and maybe I'll tell some more stories about this stuff later on. But again, don't don't look at any of it as sad. They're all learning experiences. Um, for me, it was something I needed. As weird as that sounds, I needed to go through that because I was a very different person before it. Um, so I learned a lot from it. Pain is pain is one of life's greatest teachers. As long as you are susceptible to learning, it can teach you compassion like you wouldn't believe. Um, and yeah, I'll leave it at that. I hope you guys have a wonderful day or evening. Um, enjoy your smokes, and God bless. Have a good one.